All right, guys, I'm here with CJ Grisham. And CJ, tell me a little bit about your background.
So I am a 20-plus year retired Army First Sergeant and Counterintelligence Special Agent. I am a Senior Counterintelligence Special Agent was my official title. So I come from counterintel, interrogations. I was a signal intelligence interceptor, so I did a little bit of time working within the NSA sphere of things, and towards the end of my career, other alphabet agencies.
Did you get to waterboard anybody?
I got waterboarded when I went to SEER school.
Oh, that's you, but did you get to do any waterboarding?
I did not get to do any waterboarding.
Oh man, you missed out all the fun stuff.
My day will come.
All right, so tell me a little bit about how the government would conduct a COINTELPRO operation, which is a counterintelligence program operation.
So it starts very simple and very innocently. Everything, if they've got a target, the first thing they want to do is learn everything they can about the target. They will go through your websites, your social media. They'll go through your friends list. They'll find out who the leaders are first. Those are the first targets. Who are the leaders and what are their motivations? Why did they start it? Everyone has what we call like breaking points or points that motivate people, I guess is the best. People do things for a reason.
Right.
And so the first thing they want to do is find out what makes these people tick. Let's use Open Carry Texas as an example. So, okay, the leader is CJ Grisham, Open Carry Texas. What exactly is Open Carry Texas? Why did he form it? What are his reasons behind it? What is he trying to accomplish? And if we wanted to tear it down, or if we wanted to wear him out, or we wanted to get into it, how do we do that? So the first thing is to but target the leaders and learn everything about them. They go through all your social media, they look at your likes, the groups that you're involved in, then they go to your friends. They find out who you interact with the most, then they target those people and start looking at all of their interests and groups and things that they're interacted in.
Now, where would they accumulate that information at? Would that be the Fusion Center?
The Fusion Center is where all of this is accumulated. Now, it comes from different areas because you've got different aspects of it. So the FBI is involved in this. I worked in the Joint Terrorism Task Force for many years. And the Joint Terrorism Task Force is made up of federal, state, and local law enforcement at all levels. And I was in the Army, so obviously even the Army is involved. But with Posse Comitatus, our involvement is from the border out. Right. And so when a threat comes to the border, our job was to take that intel and pass it off to the domestic law enforcement wings once it gets onto domestic grounds, because we in the Army can't continue tracking that, because then it's considered American soil. So they do that through the Joint Terrorism Task Force and through the Fusion Centers. They're almost synonymous, the two, because the Fusion Centers generally can contain the Joint Terrorism Task Force, or it's even just another nomenclature for the Fusion Center.
Okay.
So, but I think the Fusion Center is more of a state and local web domestically, whereas the Joint Terrorism Task Force is both a federal, state, and joint, but it's also
international.
International, yeah.
Okay. So if let's say I wanted to run an op against Open Carry Texas, how would I perform that op? If I wanted to disrupt Open Carry Texas and interfere with the unit cohesion and everything that you do, how would I do that?
You want me to give you the tricks on how to tear down Open Carry Texas?
Well,
you can't.
Just an example.
Well, this is what, if I were a government agency, I wanted to infiltrate. Well, let's just say Open Carry Texas, or really any group. The first thing you do is you get somebody who's got a very vanilla presence. So even if it's a law enforcement officer, it's a very vanilla presence. Or you find someone. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people who don't like certain groups, like Open Carry Texas, and they will approach law enforcement and say, I think there's something going on, I'd like to help you. And so it's not just people getting recruited, it's people asking to be recruited as well. And so you get these people, they start going out to all the functions, they start taking part in the events, they start working their way up the trust ladder, that circle of trust. And they start gaining that influence. Once they've got you in there, and I'm going to work as a handler, let's just say I'm a government handler. Once I've got someone on the inside of this group, the first thing you want to do is try to recruit other people that might be susceptible to that. And the way that you do that is through almost subliminal type messaging. So you'll say something in a chat room, like let's say I've got a post about constitutional carry, right? And as a government agent, I'm trying to undermine the push for constitutional carry. So what I'm going to do first is, as an agent that's inside, when there's a post on like a Facebook group or a YouTube video, I'm going to say something that sounds pro-gun, but perhaps is an argument against constitutional carry. And I'm going to find out how many people like that comment or respond to me. Now I found out who my allies are as potentials, and then I start picking off those individual allies to see if they have what's called placement and access. So you can have all the people in the world spying on you, but if they don't have placement and access to the people who are making the decisions, then you're not going to get anything. So because when you've got these one-offers out there that are doing things, it's hard to pin down an entire organization because one guy goes out and does something. So you've got to get the leadership. So it's a spider web. You go in there, you plant the seed, someone eats the seeds, and they poop out a few more seeds, and then you start picking up those. And
what about getting somebody in the hierarchy or somebody that's on the inside and getting some kind of criminal charge brought against them, and then using them to disrupt the group? Would something like that be plausible?
That's plausible, but I think most of the leaders of organizations, especially if it's a somewhat centralized organization. OCT is not super centralized, but we do have a point of leadership. And so, for example, you can infiltrate all day long you want me. I'm not going to turn on my movement. So it's really hard to pinpoint leaders. You really want to undermine, because the leaders aren't going to be the ones that you're going to be able to change. Now, there are probably some people who, you arrest them, you charge them with these bogus crimes. This is an option, where you charge them with bogus crimes, you threaten them with being in jail for the rest of their lives, but if you help me, we can make this go away. The only people that have problems with that, that are susceptible to that, are the people who are doing things wrong.
Right.
So, my dad always taught me, as long as you're always doing the right thing, you never have anything to worry about. So you can charge me with everything in the world, but I know I've never done the wrong thing, so there's nothing you can hold over me. There's nothing to blackmail me with. Am I getting surrounded?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But they're deploying, it looks like. Okay, well, that's good. I appreciate it.
So, well, what's important, though, the way to figure this out, pay attention to the people who are constantly trying to undermine, even just a little bit. People who are trying to sow the seeds of doubt, because that's the first step. When you've got somebody in there that they pretend that they support your cause, but they're injecting little sort of causing people to, and a lot of times they'll even say, oh, I'm just playing devil's advocate. That's one of an indicator. It's not the indicator, and that's not always the case, because I play devil's advocate all the time too. But that's one of the ways that they'll start to undermine and gather. So just kind of be aware of those kinds of people. I've learned not to get too close to really too many people anyway. So I keep my circle of influence is really small.
Yeah, you live under the castle commander, right?
Yeah. My wife is my circle of influence.
There you go.
Unless she tells me to turn on everybody.
Yeah. All right, thank you, CJ. I appreciate you.